we shine a spotlight on test screenings and how they change a movie. Crack the Icelandic enigma that is Björk. And find things to say with comedian Lenny Henry.
Hello, I'm Amanda Keller and welcome to Mondo Thingo. And that's right, tonight I'll be having a chat with the comedian's comedian Lenny Henry. And later on we'll be giving you a blast of good old-fashioned robot movies. But before any of that, let's cast an eye over the week with the clued up Steve Canane. G'day, Steve.
G'day, Amanda.
You haven't been called clued up for quite some time, have you?
Never.
No, and fair enough too.
Yeah.
A new novel's about to be released in China. That's no big deal, but this is the world's first novel to be released via SMS. I find this just extraordinary. The novel is divided into 60 chapters, each of which consists of 70 characters. And the book, you just read a book on your mobile phone.
And a corny book too. The title of it is Outside a Fortress Besieged, and it's a story of forbidden love.
I heart you. No, I heart you.
I can imagine that being in there, yeah. I think forbidden love stories should be forbidden by now.
Do you?
Yeah.
You've got no heart, Steve.
No.
But the Chinese are mad on mobile phones. I was astonished to hear that they have about 300 million mobile phone numbers. 220 billion SMS messages were sent last year alone, and that's more than half the whole world's SMS messages. The Chinese are phone mad.
That's heaps, isn't it? I think this is a good
That's
thing,
heaps,
though.
yes, it's heaps.
It is heaps. I think it's good because I think there's a lot of crappy novels out there already wasting paper, chopping down trees. I think SMS is the way to go with these ones.
Do you? As long as he doesn't write it while he's driving.
That could be dangerous.
Speaking of chopping down trees, you found something interesting with an environmental bent,
That's
Steve.
right, some environmental porn.
Love it.
There's a website, two Norwegians have gone and had sex in public, got it filmed, put it on the website. The proceeds from the website will go to save the rainforests.
Actually, the website's pretty funny. There's this man just... What's that on his head? Just moss, you think?
Yeah, moss. He's got a heap of moss on his head while he's having sex in, it seems like, a swamp.
Are they raising a lot of money?
Yeah, they've raised about $35,000 to $40,000. I spoke to him this week in US money, but they can't give it to the environmental funds. The Worldwide Fund for Nature won't accept the money. A big rainforest body in Norway won't accept the money. They consider it dirty money, I think, and they're not taking it. So they've actually thought about buying their own piece of rainforest as a way of using the money.
Wow. And people make unusual donations, as it were, too, don't they, for this organisation?
Yeah, they do. If you don't have any money that you can give to the fund, you can always send in a home movie and they'll put it up.
Marvellous stuff. What else have you got?
Well, Khalees, the American singer, has been in town this week.
Before you go any further, I know there's a bit of controversy at her show, but to remind people of Khalees, let's have a look at a snippet of her worldwide hit Milkshake.
So Khalees is guilty of not knowing her song lyrics, a trend that you broke last week on Mondo Thingo, Amanda.
That's right. I think it was Jamie, the girl who went on to win Superstar USA, was reading the lyrics to Like a Virgin from her hand. Johnny, I knew. What was Khalees doing?
She had the sheet out. I was speaking to the support act this week about it. She was reading it off a big piece of A4 paper.
Look, how many songs does she have to forget?
Well, Khalees is only 23. She's put out 3 albums, which would mean a back catalogue of probably about 30 songs. So it's not like she's got that much to remember. I mean, I can understand Frank Sinatra in the later years reading off the auto cue.
Oh, give me a break. New York. Oh, how does it go? Like, you need an auto cue.
Yeah, well, if Frank had been drinking with Dean Martin for 50 years, I reckon that's a good excuse to remember songs. Khalees, no excuse. I mean, it's like a karaoke show when you know, she has to read the lyrics off a song sheet.
Well, people often come to Australia and do crap shows thinking it doesn't matter, it's only Australia. Remember Barry White, was it early last year or something, was in Australia, had his back to the audience and mumbled the whole way through.
Wasn't Barry Manilow?
No, certainly was not, thank you, Steve. And on that note, you can leave now.
Okay.
Thank you, we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, Amanda.
Movie makers in Hollywood used to rely on gut instinct and artistic vision, but not anymore. Today they rely on test screenings. This is where an audience high on free popcorn gets to see an early cut of a film, and what this audience thinks can make a difference. In fact, it made a big difference to the recently released The Stepford Wives, with Nicole Kidman having to take a break from her next film to go back and reshoot scenes that the test audience didn't like. Well, now the test screening concept has made its way into the fragile Australian film industry. Will anything ever be the same again?
I
think test screenings ultimately are going to be a good thing for the Australian film industry because they help shine a light on the Australian film going public and which audiences are going to go and see particular films. We started Movie Measure 5 or 6 years ago because people really wanted to sort of know if a film was going to either do well, do badly, do somewhere in between, or how they can make it do better.
It's a simple process. Get some film-going punters, show them a film and then grill them through focus groups or questionnaires.
There's a standard bunch of questions you can use to test any film, really, but we work with producers and directors to fine-tune that and add specific things that they want to understand about a film. So it might be a particular character, is it working, or the pace of the film, is it working, is the ending working. We've done Getting Square, The Quiet American, The Bank, Dirty Deeds, The Hard Word, Thunderstruck.
I think test screenings are a tool like every other tool that you have during the filmmaking process. The same way as you have script assessments and you work with cinematographers and your actors bring something to it, test screenings bring another element to the film.
And while not all the comments that came back to the Thunderstruck team were helpful,
this is a classic. Sometimes the dumb characters lost their dumbness and got smart.
the end result was a radical restructure of their film about 4 Akadaka fans carrying the ashes of their dead mate across the country.
What was interesting was that the approval ratings of our main boys, the hero guys in the film, was about between 89 and 92%, which is really, really high. So that also made us realise that we have to stick with our boys in the story, because in the film we had a lot of side stories. David and Shane, who are together are the umbilical brothers, were fantastic in the film. They were these characters that followed our hero boys, and they would come across a scene and they would reenact what had happened through mime. But what happened was, in the test screenings, people sort of didn't quite figure why they were there, and it was almost like it was from a different film. So what you do is that you get rid of those extraneous scenes, and some of them are difficult to get rid of. But when you do, and you kind of free up the film a little bit, and you stick to your main story, you think, okay, I can understand why the audience didn't respond to them.
But not all filmmakers are happy to let a test audience do the driving.
One of the big problems, I think, is that any sort of test audience is not a paying audience. They didn't look at the newspaper and make a decision to see the film. And so it's difficult to get a truly commercial view of the film.
Traditionally, test screening's bad. Always.
In the documentary that we made, Killing Priscilla, you can see Stephen Elliott going through this questionnaire process on his film Eye of the Beholder. It's a salutary lesson, probably, in just what you do with them and how you react.
Please list the scenes you most liked. None. Scenes you least liked. All. What are your feelings about how the movie ended? Stupid ending, stupid writing.
The decision-making that comes out of a lot of those tests in Hollywood is quite brutal at times, you know. So if you don't hit a certain score, the film's canned straight to DVD, or let's reshoot the ending. In Fatal Attraction, the Glenn Close character originally killed herself. And when that was shown to test audiences didn't like the fact. They wanted a bit more conflict, so that's hence where the jumping out of the bathtub and shooting in the bathroom wall scene came from.
I just don't know what to do.
With Julia Roberts, audiences were just not warming to her character at all. They just found her nasty and mean and a bit selfish.
How can you possibly be getting married on Sunday?
So they introduced a pivotal scene, I think it was in the toilets with Cameron Diaz, and that improved the film overall.
I haven't done much that I'm proud of the last 3 days.
I think it's an interesting exercise to embark on with all the cautions in your mind, but I really feel that you can spend an awful lot of money and not necessarily get a better film.
With this sort of tool, you need to embrace it and own it and kind of drive it. You know, rather than having the negative, oh, they're going to wreck my film, have the positive and go, yeah, okay, what are we going to get out of this? How can we benefit from the test screenings?
Still to come, comedian Lenny Henry, as you've never seen him before.
Excuse me, do you have these in white?
Amanda, we're about to do the throw to the Bajork cheat note.
George, the Bajork cheat note. Did you say Bajork?
I've checked, it's Bajork.
Who'd you check with?
Oh, Miriam in the office, her family's from Iceland.
Miriam's family's from Queensland.
Well, they're huge Bajork fans.
It's Björk.
Oh, OK, but you can take all the calls from the annoyed Icelandic viewers.
Now time to open another cheat note. And this week we're throwing the spotlight on that Icelandic musical export to the world, Björk. She's been described as an otherworldly pixie and a kooky Nordic sprite. But she's also an acclaimed actor and she makes music like no one else. Right now she's getting ready to release a new album and she'll be performing at the opening ceremony of the Athens Olympics. And that's where the Nikki Webster comparisons stop for the strange and beguiling Björk.
As Iceland's most successful musical export, Björk dropped in from the Arctic Circle to shake things up a bit. She refuses to be pigeonholed and has spent her life creating artistic, cutting-edge music. It's like she was born to do it. Björk's been a professional singer since she was a child. At 5, she was sent to classical music school, and by 11, she'd released an album of cover songs. It was a hit in Iceland, but not entirely satisfying.
I felt funny about having an album out that said Björk on it, and it wasn't my work. I would never do that again unless I felt it was my album.
At 14, Björk left school. Rejecting classical music, she formed the group Tappi Takaris, which released 2 noisy post-punk albums. In 1983, Björk formed a new band, Kukul. Over the next 2 years, she and the band put out 2 albums and toured Europe, but broke up in mid-1986, leaving Björk time for her next project. On the day she gave birth to her son, Björk, her husband, guitarist Thor Eldon, and several former Kukul members formed what they thought would be a joke band, the Sugar Cubes. But no joke. Their dreamy and remarkable first single, Birthday, earned glowing reviews and a loyal cult following around the world. After 3 celebrated albums, the band broke up acrimoniously in 1992, leaving the real star of the band, Björk herself, open to other possibilities. Björk wanted to move towards a more electronic dance style, so she started working with trip-hop star Tricky and Massive Attack producer Nelly Hooper. The result was 1993's intoxicating album, Debut. An unconventional album, it received wildly varying reviews. Regardless, its eccentricity made Björk an international star. Post, her second album, was released in 1995 and featured her most commercially successful single, the memorable It's Oh So Quiet. Always pushing boundaries, her next album, Homogenic, released in 1997, was her most experimental studio effort to date. It was at this time that her charisma caught the eye of a unique Danish director, Lars von Trier.
I've seen what I was and I know. And the camera goes like out of the roof and you just know it's gonna end. I hate that.
Björk wasn't interested and only agreed to take the role if she could also write the score. Her eclectic music dominates and gives energy to a difficult story. Her mesmerising performance also bagged her the Best Actress award at the Cannes Film Festival in 2000.
I'm very grateful. Thank you very much.
Her score was also nominated for an Oscar, and she caused a stir for wearing that dress. Despite her success, Björk says she never wants to do another movie. Instead, she's concentrating on her music career. Her latest release, Vespertine, is captivating, featuring electronic glitch masterminds Matmos, who make sounds with non-musical objects. Björk will collaborate with them again on her next album, Medulla. She will be performing one of these songs at the opening ceremony of the Athens Olympics. Always adventurous, Björk is learning Greek for the occasion. Mondo Lingo, providing the must-have words for your vocabulary. This week, mucus trooper, a term for an employee who bravely comes to work with a contagious illness. And as they soldier on, they also infect the whole office, bringing the entire operation to a grinding halt. Mucus troopers are as close as many of us will come to working with an actual saint, and thereby get to understand why saints so often ended up being stoned to death or burned at the stake.
Coming up soon, we look at the history of robot movies.
Number 6, this computer will fill you in on everything you need to know to talk intelligently with your wealthy surgeon in Denmark.
Lenny Henry has to be one of the most lovable and funny performers anywhere. He made his start at 17 on a British TV talent show, and for 30 years now it's been stand-up comedy, sketch shows, sitcoms, kids TV, movie roles, documentaries, everything but hosting when kitchen sinks attack. Bad luck you missed out on that.
I'm so upset about the kitchen sinks project.
Now, the one thing I didn't mention in the introduction there was your big heart. You do a lot of work for charity, in particular Comic Relief.
I'm a charity guy, yes, I do, yeah. I was there at the beginning for Comic Relief, and we had a big meeting, and I said, I think it was me, said, why don't we do a telethon and try and do special programmes and raise money for charity that way? And we've been going since 1985, and we've raised over £300 million.
Wow, that's extraordinary. And every year it seems you do...
Every other year it is.
Or is it every other year? You have one big stunt, and last year's one I thought was just hilarious. You as Michael Jackson, Rowan Atkinson as Martin Bashir in a send-up of that infamous interview.
Now, Michael, you're particularly well known for your amazing dancing.
Oh, Martin, you're so sweet.
You are fantastic.
You're so kind.
Can you show me how it's done?
Oh, no, I couldn't. I'm too shy.
Okay, let's move on to something else.
Okay, but if you really insist. Kind of like that.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Can you dance?
Me? No.
Come on.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be terrible. I'm going to be absolutely terrible. I'm so hopeless.
Stop the filming, please. Stop the filming. How the hell did you learn this?
How much fun was that?
Really big fun. It was all day. It just happened. I mean, the documentary had been out a week, 2 weeks before, and because we were thinking what we're going to do, and I was going to do some stuff from In Pieces, and then when that happened, we just went, we've got to do that.
It's uncanny how much you look like him.
Oh no, I look like a fat Michael Jackson. I look like everybody I do, but fat.
How long did it take you to become Michael Jackson?
5 hours with a guy called Neil who does lots of monster prosthetics. So, you know, I was scared.
Like
I was scared that something's going to jump out of my nostrils at any minute, you know.
You also had a bit of a dig at Michael, which I found very funny.
Michael, this is an exquisite shop. Show me what you've bought.
I love collecting beautiful things. Like this.
So nice.
Yeah. Oh, Martin, have you seen these? They're adorable. I'll take them. Hello, excuse me. Excuse me. Do you have these in white?
You've never had any operations?
Well, all right, Martin. Maybe one.
Really?
Obviously, with Michael, you've got the dancing, you've got the singing, you've got everything. I was stunned to hear that you also sang backup on a Kate Bush single.
She made me scrambled eggs.
What?
She was amazing. I think she didn't want me to sing properly. Kate's lovely. She's incredibly creative, and although I didn't like Heathcliff, I liked everything else. I love, you know, her music and her voice, very ethereal quality. And so I'm a big fan, and Prince is a big Kate Bush fan.
Well, this is a Prince song that you sang.
Well, exactly. I went to the thing, and she said, I want you to sing on this track. She played it to me, and I just thought, I recognise this style of music. I said, what? Who's this on the back? It's not you, is it? She said, it's Prince. And I went, ah! And I had to sing, you know, on a Kate Bush song with Prince. It was brilliant.
Let's have a listen.
She could be way down in the mix.
The Yoko mix.
The Linda McCartney mix.
You sound good. You and Prince.
That's me and Prince and Kate Bush.
What a fantasy, eh? Now, your show, So Much Things to Say...
Started last night in Canberra, and I'm all over Australia. And it starts with me doing stand-up and then introducing characters one by one. And then in the second half, the characters take over. And it's like I'm Sybil, you know. Suddenly this guy's talking, this woman's talking, this guy's talking. I'm just full of all these voices.
Well, look, Lenny Henry, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's been big fun.
Things to say.
You've got to go to Mondo Movies. She has to stay on that shot. That's a good shot.
You want to read this for me?
Yeah, I do, but stay on her. Let's get into some Mondo movies. And isn't it always the way you go months without a good robot film, and then two hit the stands in exactly the same week? I, Robot and the Stepford Wives. And with this in mind, we thought we'd take a look at those movies and whose stars set off metal detectors wherever they go.
What he said.
Oh, hell no.
Alex Proyas and Will Smith have teamed up to offer a futuristic robots in revolt thriller with iRobot. This high-speed blockbuster is emotionally vacuous, but does offer a sprinkling of decent one-liners.
I'm sorry, are you being funny?
I guess not.
Over the years, audiences have become more and more fascinated by robots in film, either because they look cool or perhaps due to a spooky underlying fear of technology. In turn, movie makers have exploited this fear, making modern-day movie robots monsters. But they weren't always this scary.
That I could be kinda human if I only had a heart.
One of the first robots to grace the big screen was the Tin Man in director Victor Fleming's enduring classic, The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, oil my arms, please. Oil my elbows.
Jack Haley played the metal friend of Dorothy, but only because original Tin Man, Buddy Ebsen, was hospitalised after inhaling the toxic aluminium makeup. And to this day, stars inhaling things they shouldn't still causes problems on movie sets. Perhaps the only movie robot to have an actual career was Robbie the Robot, the iconic star of Forbidden Planet. And he was probably the only actor who could get away with saying this in 1956.
Sorry, miss, I was giving myself an oil job.
Designed by Japanese-American Bob Kinoshita, Robbie cost MGM $125,000. But sadly, Robbie found he was typecast, always playing a robot, in TV shows like Lost in Space, Gilligan's Island and Mork and Mindy.
Number 6, this computer will fill you in on everything you need to know to talk intelligently with your wealthy surgeon in Denmark.
Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine starred Vincent Price, Frankie Avalon and no less than 17 out-of-sight robotic chicks. Let's just say it wasn't art house.
Thank heavens you came along, darling. I'm completely flat.
I wouldn't say that.
Yes, you can see where Mike Myers got some of his inspiration for Austin Powers. And if you're going to send up James Bond movies, it makes sense that nearly all the female characters should be robots.
Number 5 is alive.
In a time of rising corporate domination and technological advance, Short Circuit was supposed to be a dark, high-tech thriller. But it evolved into a much-loved 80s comedy starring the adorable Number 5.
Beautiful Stephanie.
Number 5 was given life from being struck by lightning. He also acquired some funky dance moves, which Saturday Night Fever director John Badham placed so discreetly into the film. Don't judge director Paul Verhoeven purely on Showgirls, because he also made the ferocious but very fun RoboCop. With corporations running the world, an unwitting police officer is turned into the mechanised future of law enforcement, and his aim is excellent.
Your move, creep.
Okay, so being part human, Robo is actually a cyborg, but he has a robot co-star in the hulking and not very bright Ed 209. It seems that the prime directive of most movie robots is to find some humanity. The reverse of this seems to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, who becomes more like a robot in every role he plays. Next week on Mondo Thingo, the fall and rise of Jason Donovan, Afro-Latin hip-jiggling with Ozzo Matley, the cinematic potential of Australian comics, and unusual, sometimes disturbing duets.
We've worked out the alternative ending for tonight's episode to show to the test screening audience.
Let's have a look. Amanda and George break out of the poison gas chamber and make it to the escape helicopter just before the entire ABC studios explode.
So what do you think?
Look, it's good, but every week we film this, we show it to the Mondo test audience, and every week they go with me saying, here's an extra little something, and saying goodnight.
Well, I think we should shoot both just to be sure, and wardrobe already has your bikini standing by.
All right. Thanks. And that's just about all we have time for. except for maybe this extra little something. And it's billionaire lifestyle guru Martha Stewart, who's just discovered she might be seeing the inside of a jail for 5 months. Well, right now there are some quite creative photographs doing the rounds of the internet showing how a plush fabric and curtain queen like Martha might revamp her own prison cell. So get ready to jot down some great ideas for injecting comfort and glamour into a small windowless room with bunks and a cellmate called Pitbull. Bye for now.